this next book, so freaking good. Like, I can't get over how much I loved this book. Any recommendation out of anything that I have told you about this whole year, it's this one. Because hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're here to do my February wrap up. So before we get started, we're going to jump into my TBR that I had planned. I said I was going to read Grown, Game Changer, The Survivors, The Dating Plan, Shipped, Enjoy the View, and I had a couple maybes as well. My maybes were Swimming Lessons and Dearly, both poetry collections, and I also had pre-ordered The Project by Courtney Summers, so I said I might throw that in as well. And here are the ones from my TBR that I actually read. I did read Grown, Game Changer, I DNF'd The Survivors, I DNF'd The Dating Plan, I read Shipped, Enjoy the View, and I took Swimming Lessons and Dearly off. I'm not in the mood for poetry right now, so I just didn't get around to those, but I did end up reading The Project. So those are the books that I ended up accomplishing or not accomplishing from my TBR that I set at the beginning of the month. And now we're going to just quickly go over some of my reading goals. My main reading goals are 6 classics, 12 book of the months, 12 new releases, and then I picked out 7 backlist titles from my bookshelves that I still really wanted to get to this year. And so far, if you're looking at my goals, I'm still sitting at 0 of 6 classics. Hopefully I can change that, but 0 of 6 classics, 4 of 12 book of the months because I read 1 this month. I read 4 new releases this month, so that puts me at 6 of 12. And I also read another book from that backlist titles list, so that puts me at 2 of 7. So I'm doing pretty good on my goals, other than the classics, but like there's still time. I did DNF 3 books. I did say that I DNF'd The Survivors by Jane Harper, and I also DNF'd The Dating Plan by Sarah Dessy. And then I also DNF'd Unseen Messages by Pepper Winters, which this is a huge book. I got this at the thrift store. I read a few chapters of this before I gave up on it, and I really want to keep it because it's signed by the author, but like that would take up a lot of space to read this for my book club discussion. But I read the first 25 pages like 3 times. No, it was more than that. Yeah, it was 25 pages. I still have my bookmark in here. I tried to read those pages 3 times, so like 75 pages basically, and I was just like, I'm bored and it's not worth it to me. And then I started reading reviews, and even people in my book club were saying, like, there were other people that were DNFing it. They were saying it was really slow. People that pushed themselves through said it was like a 3 stars. So that wasn't just really worth it for me. So I'm getting rid of that one. And then this one, oh my gosh, I'm so freaking sad because this cover is gorgeous. Like, oh my gosh. And I don't quite know if I want to get rid of this one or not. I kind of do want to give this one a second chance. I was going to try it out on audiobook, but the audiobook doesn't come out until this month, March. And yeah, it was a little info dumpy in the beginning, and that's so odd to say about a romance book, but yeah, it was a little info dumpy. So I might keep this one around. I read about 75 pages, I'll say, before I just said I'm almost 100 pages in and nothing is happening. So I actually read these 2 in January, even though they were on my February TBR. I just had like a few extra days in the month in January, and I read both of these. So Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson, I ended up rating this one 3.5 stars. I think it's a very strong YA story centering around the music industry, the Me Too movement. It's written by a Black author about Black characters, and I think that it tackles really important themes and topics. I think that Jackson tried to do too much, and the like mental illness storyline, and also like her friend in her name changing like so much, like is that her, is she real, like I don't know. So there were some confusing bits in here, and then also I really loved how they stuck to Enchanted's point of view, but I think from a victim, like with a victim story, it is nice to see people that love them, like showing that they still care and they're trying to help and stuff like that. So I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of that, but I did a full book discussion with Jacqueline and Jesse on my podcast, Talk Bookish to Me. So if you're interested in my full thoughts, you can definitely listen to that podcast. So you'll not only get my perspective, but theirs as well. I think Jesse went with 3 stars and then Jacqueline rated it 4 stars. So we all really did love the book. And also I did write a full review of this on Goodreads and the Story Graph. And then I also read Shipped by Angie Hockman. And guys, if you haven't picked this up and you love like contemporary rom-com romance, hate to love, enemies to lovers, kind of forced proximity, workplace relationships, but you also just want to like go on a vacation, read this book. It's so freaking cute. I based my March Calls of the Month based on this book. I love the setting. I love the characters. It was just so freaking cute. I ended up rating this one, I think I did 4 out of 5 stars. I ended up rating this one 4 out of 5 stars, and I highly, highly recommend it. It's probably more 5 stars than 4 stars, but if you want to check out my full review, definitely do that and you'll see why I rated it 4 instead of 5. Okay, now for the books that I actually physically read in the month of February. The first one was The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, and this is my first Kristen Hanna book. I've had other ones in the past that I've gotten rid of without reading, and this was my first one, and I'm so glad it was. I absolutely loved this. This is one of those books that was like one of the 7 books of my backlist titles that I really wanted to get to this year, and I rated the story 4 out of 5 stars. It's about, and all of the books that I talk about, I have reviews on Goodreads and the Story Graph for like every single book except for the very last book because I just finished reading it. But that review will go up pretty soon. Anyway, this one is set in Alaska, and you guys know my love of Alaska. And the reason why this even like came into my possession is because like a friend of mine created this like care package for me, and she ended up giving me another book instead of this one, but this is the one that she wanted to give me, and I loved the book that she did give me. So I was like, if I loved that one, I'm gonna love this one as well, and I really, really did. It's really slow paced, and I don't think I was quite prepared for that, but it was intentionally slow paced and like a good character study, but like enough was happening in the plot as well, so it was very well balanced in the first 3 quarters, we'll say. Somewhere along the way towards the end, it got a little messy, it got a little rushed, and for all of the build up and all of the time spent developing the characters and stuff like that, and the slow burn, not necessarily just romance, but like everything, it was just like a little messy for me at the end, and that's why it got 4 stars instead of 5 stars. But like, guys, this book is so good. It tackles a mother and daughter relationship. It talks about like abuse, just finding yourself in a new world almost. Yeah, because they just kind of like up and left. Her father had PTSD, and he was also like an alcoholic, and I don't know, there was just like so many messages and themes throughout this. I loved this book so much. I just wish the ending was as strong as the beginning. Like, I'm happy with what the ending did, but at the same time it was just like so rushed. So, and then I read The Mothers by Britt Bennett, and this is one that I was hearing everybody talk about. I was like, I need to read some Britt Bennett, and I'm actually going to have a full reading vlog of reading this and The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, so stay tuned for that, where I will share all of my thoughts on the entire book, because I've already vlogged it and I just have to like edit it and stuff like that, but that will be coming at a later future date for you. But this was a little bit different than I was expecting going in. There's another book on this list that I read this month that I thought this one would be a little bit more like. With the title of The Mothers, this one is a young girl gets pregnant, she has an abortion, and it's following the repercussions, the like cause and effect, like you had an abortion and now here's what your life is like and stuff like that. And then there's all these groups of mothers. There's like her mother that had like killed herself, and then there's like her friends' mothers, and then there's like these group of women at the church that are like mothers, and it really did have like a strong mother theme, but it wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be. Anyway, stay tuned for my full thoughts and my final rating when you watch that reading vlog, because I think it's going to be a good one. And then next up, I read Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. So I recently read all of Christina Lauren's backlist books, and I realized, I was like, I have some Colleen Hoover backlist books that I need to get to. So I started with Without Merit, and yeah, this was different than her other books. I feel like I say that every Colleen Hoover book that I pick up, but this one really was different. This is more about the Voss family and like all of the things that are going on in their life. More like a family drama than it's really about romance. It was so interesting. I ended up rating this one 4 out of 5 stars. It was just really different. Obviously there is like a romance element, but I think the coolest parts were like the family dynamics and stuff like that. So if you're looking, and I don't remember hearing great things about this, but I actually really liked it. And I'm wondering if it's because it is so much of a departure from, and it's YA. That's another thing. So it's YA, and it's not like romance focused, I would say. It's more like a family drama with romance elements. I don't know. I really liked it. Game Changer by Neal Shusterman. This is one of the new releases that I read. I read this for my book club event that I was hosting. I created this little bookmark as well with a quote on it. Sadly, this one didn't connect with me. When I initially read it and reviewed it, I rated it 2 out of 5 stars. So it was watered down commentary on the flaws of society, racism, homophobia, sexism, etc. There were too many issues being addressed without enough impact, not enough realistic explanations. It was fast-paced yet super cringy at times. And I wanted Ash to realize, like, don't pretend to know or understand the suffering of people of color, queer people, and women just because you spent a few days living as one. I was hoping this would be more like Every Day by David Levithan, but it was quite different from that. Like, same kind of premise, but different at the same time. But it's interesting because, like I said, I initially rated it 2 stars. Then we had our book club discussion about this, and in some of the copies, I think it was the Barnes & Noble edition, I'm not really sure, but some editions of the book in the back have like author commentary of the entire book, like by chapter. Mine does not have that. And some of my critiques about the book were intentional. And I was like, wow, that kind of just made me realize like how, I don't know, like one-sided my feelings were, and I wasn't looking at it very critically, like maybe the author meant to write it that way. I don't know. Basically, after the discussion with some of the members of my book club, and one of the members of my book club like sent me some screenshots of the stuff in the back of the book, and I read through that, I raised my rating to 3 stars. So if you want to get your hands on this, and I might have even rated it higher having read it with the commentary the first time through, because it's broken up by chapter in the back, so you could like read the first chapter and then read the commentary on that first chapter, and I think I would have liked it a lot more. But what I have found in my book club, we were split. You either loved it or you hated it. It was like a D and F 1 to 2 star, or like a 4 or 5 star. There wasn't many 3s, but because I wonder if it was like all the people that rated it high had the author commentary, and the people that didn't like it did not have the author commentary. But yeah, so I rated this one 3 stars, final rating. So that was just really super interesting. So if you can get your hands on the copy that has the commentary in the back, highly recommend that. First historical romance, and I I am so happy I read Beverly Jenkins as my first historical romance author, and I did a full reading vlog of the experience of reading my first historical romance, and a lot of people are shocked that I've never read a historical romance before, but like I haven't. Historical romance is something I've never tackled until this month, and I wish that I would have been able to explain all of my thoughts and feelings. Like obviously when I'm sharing a vlog, it's not everything, it's not the full story, it's just what I'm choosing to share. And before, during, and after the video, I can always gain more insight, think about it a little bit more, things like that. And before posting it, I did talk to some of my friends about this book, and they definitely said like they could see where I was coming from, how I struggled with the time period. But also someone else, one of my other friends, really pointed out that that is what makes this book so beautiful, is that it is this really shitty time in history, especially for Black and brown people, but yet they still found joy and they still found love. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. Like, it was a really great experience. I really enjoyed it. Check out the vlog if you want more information. I'm definitely going to continue. So yeah, there's that. Okay. Next up, I read Enjoy the View by Sarah Morgenthaler. This is the third book in the Moose Springs, Alaska series. But before I actually read this, let's not forget I read A Christmas Fun for Ulysses, and I rated The Christmas Fun for Ulysses 4 stars because I really liked it. It was a cute little novella, couple pages, and it followed the characters from the first book, and I just really liked it. So adorable, so cute, so Christmassy. And then I actually read this one, and I rated this one 3 stars, which was a little bit of a letdown. This one follows Easton and River. Is that her name? River? Yeah. I was like, is it Rivera? No, it's River. River Lane. So this one is River Lane is trying to film and produce this documentary in Moose Springs, Alaska. And of course the town is not really giving her access or the documentation that she needs. So Easton suggests, hey, go up on this mountain. And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And he ends up being their tour guide to take them up on this mountain to trek through these mountains. And they're shooting this documentary. It took a while before we actually got to the mountain. That was problem number 1. And problem number 2 was that it focused more on the documentary than I wanted it to. I wanted them to just freaking hike just to hike, because both River and Easton both love this. They're both snarky, they're both outdoorsy and adventurous people, and I really did like their romance. But I feel like this documentary, this stupid documentary, like who freaking cares? It took like forever to just like get to the mountain, and like once they did, it was like good and stuff like that. I just wish it would have lasted a little bit longer. But I do like how it like wrapped up at the end. We did get like a little bit of an epilogue. It wasn't an epilogue, it was like the last chapter, but it was like written like an epilogue. I did a full reading vlog. It was like a weekend reading vlog. I think it was like my birthday, Valentine's Day weekend that I read this. So if you're interested in more of my thoughts, check out that vlog. And guys, I think this might be my first thriller of 2021. I would have to go back. Let's do that because I am so interested to know. Oh no, because I read The Wife Upstairs, Cover Your Tracks, Watching You, Since We Fell. Okay, so it was like at the beginning of January, I read some thrillers, and then it was like all romance after that. And then this one, it felt like my first thriller. It was the first thriller in a while, okay? So I was wrong. But anyway, so The Pretty Little Wife, I've been hearing great things about it, so I finally picked this one up. What did I rate this one? I rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. I do have a full review of this one. It did have a slight detective procedural element to it. There were many twists that were more shocking towards the beginning than towards the end. It became a little bit predictable. This one, basically you have Lila Ridgefield, who kills her husband and parks him in his car by his job. And then the next day, his boss like goes to the house and's like, hey, what's his name? I don't even know his name. Aaron. Where's Aaron? And she's like, oh, I don't know. He went to work. Although she, like, in her head, she's like, I killed him and I left him right there on your doorstep. Like, why can't you find him? And he's missing. And it's the whole thing, like, is he really dead? What happened? All of that. So pretty good. 3 stars. Then I read The Project by Courtney Summers, which is our March book discussion for Talk Bookish to Me podcast. So if you've read it or you want to read it, now is the time. Pick it up, read it with us, discuss it with us on March 15th on Talk Bookish to Me podcast. I have the links down in the description box for Spotify, Apple, etc. Now, this next book, it was 5 stars, and guys, it was so freaking good. Like, I can't get over how much I loved this book. And it's funny because I am being like tougher with my 5 stars this year. And like, this was a 5, you guys. And oh my God. Okay. I'm talking about The Push by Ashley Audrain. And guys, this is what I wanted the mothers to be a little bit more like. Not necessarily like the thriller aspect of it. I'll get into all that in a minute, but like the mother aspect of this. And I will say, so pushing that aside, that this is the book I was referring to earlier, pushing that aside, this might be a tough read if you are dealing with infertility, or you are dealing with postpartum depression, or anything like that. Any kind of motherly thing that you're dealing with that's difficult right now. Maybe push this to the back of your TBR, because this really goes there. And I'm sure some of you guys know, maybe some of you don't. I do suffer from infertility, and it's just something that is a thing in my life constantly. And usually I can read books about infertility because I've kind of come to terms with it, and me and my husband, we've made our decision and we know what we're doing, and you know, all of that. But like, this book kind of triggered me a little bit, but and this is going to sound so weird, in the best way possible. Like, I think I was supposed to be uncomfortable reading this. So if you take any recommendation out of anything that I have told you about this whole year, it's this one, because this is also a new release. So I think a lot of people are going to be buzzing about it. But it was just so freaking good. It's about this mother. Well, really, it's about this couple. And the wife doesn't really seem like she wants to have kids, but she has a kid with her husband, this girl. And Violet is a little demon child, or so we think. We're not really sure, because the wife is kind of this unreliable narrator, or you're led to believe that in a way. And it also talks about her mother and then her mother's mother. So it's like the grandmother, the mother, and then this character. Like, okay, so you have the main character, her mother, and then her grandmother. So like 3 generations, and then Violet is like the 4th generation. And it really does span a length of time, like you're before children and after, when the child like grows up a little bit. And I will say that the beginning was a little confusing, and sometimes I would get confused, like what perspective I was, not perspective, but like, let's see. So it starts with this little thing in the beginning, and you're kind of like, okay, what's going on? You're just kind of thrown in, and then it starts chapter 1. And then after that, you have 1939 to 1958. And it says, Etta was born on the very same day World War II began. So you have like that story, and then it's mainly the present day story about, you know, the main couple. What are their names? Blythe and her husband Fox. And it's mainly about them, but Blythe is like totally concerned that her daughter Violet is a demon child. Like, she's evil, she's doing these crazy things, she's not attaching to Blythe, and she's favoring the dad, and the dad is making her think that that's not the case. Like, he's like, are you kidding me? That's not really true. You're just tired, you're overworked, like, you're not used to this, you're not... Like, and then she's going to the doctor, like, maybe I have postpartum depression. And she fills out the questionnaires and meets with the doctors, and they're like, no, like, everything's fine. So she sometimes does think, like, it's in my head. And there are periods where things are good. I don't want to talk about it too much. Just trust me. If you can read this book right now, I would highly recommend it. Like I said, just keep in mind those trigger warnings. But yeah, so interesting, because then she has another child, and you know, like, what happens then? I don't know. It's really, really good. But guys, wait till that ending though. Just wait. It's so good. Oh yeah. So this is, well, I have 3 5 stars so far this year. One was my reread of All Your Perfects. My second one was Since We Fell by Dennis Lehane, and this one. So yeah, when I say it's a 5 stars, I mean, like, so good. And it was a strong 4 stars until I finished the book. And when I mean, literally, it was a 4 stars until here. So just know that, like, you're in for it. So I will 100%, because this, oh, by the way, that was a debut, you guys. And like, mic drop, because this was fan-freaking-tastic, and I will definitely be picking up other books by this author in the future. So the book that I read the last day of February, I actually finished it up right before turning on the camera, is A Good Girl's might have to read it off the cover. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. And guys, I loved this one so freaking much. She's got the hiccups now. Did we get rid of the hiccups? All right, let's put you up here. Okay. I think we got rid of the hiccups. Okay, so yes, the last book I read is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and I received this from my friend Danielle in my book club. I really, really appreciate it because I've been hearing nothing but great things, and man, it's funny because when I was talking about the 5 stars, like what a reaction like they get out of me, I was initially gonna rate this 5 stars, but it wasn't like on the same level, but it was really, really good. I'm gonna go with 4.5 stars for this. And I know that's like splitting hairs, but like, yeah, it's 4.5 stars, basically 5 stars if you round up. But with the story graph, you can leave 1/4 star ratings, 3/4 star ratings. So I'm going with a 4.5 because I could do like a 4.75, but like really it's like a 4.5. Yeah, this one is really, really good. It is a YA mystery about a young girl named Pip. She is doing a capstone project for her senior thesis, basically, and she wants to reopen a case from 5 years ago. Wow, I'm realizing how long this wrap up is. I apologize. But yeah, so this was really, really good. I do recommend listening to it on audio and the physical copy. So if you have the physical copy, just check if you can get your hands on a copy of the audiobook as well. Like, check your library, like Overdrive, Libby, check Scribd. I have my Scribd link down below, like anywhere you can listen to it, because the transcripts, like the written out transcripts and stuff like that, they are read like it is produced in a way that makes you feel like she really is on the phone with someone. But you do want to read it along physically, because like you do want to see like the text messagey stuff, and there's like maps, and there's like I don't know, it's just really, really cool to actually read it physically as well. Let's see, I should have like marked it, but like I said, I literally, oh, so it has it like this, like these are some pages torn out of like a planner or something, and you actually get to see that. So it's just really, really cool the way it's written, the way these alternate things are thrown in, but also it's just a really, really good YA mystery. And it keeps you guessing right up to the end, and she's figuring things out while you're figuring things out, and she's building a list of suspects, and you're kind of agreeing with her as you go along. So you're like, okay. And yeah, she's not being really dumb about it. She's being really smart about it. And yeah, I really, really like this one. So 4.5 stars. I might round it up to 5. Like, I literally just finished reading this. So that is all for my February wrap up. I had an amazing reading month. Some new releases, some really good books, and I'm just so excited. But that's all for today's video. Thank you for joining me. I know it was a long one. I hope you stuck around to hear me talk about The Push because it was so good. And if you read YA, I highly recommend this one. So like I said, out of all the books I talked about here today, these are the 2 that you need to pick up. But yeah, I'll see you guys in another video again very soon.